Hi friends, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. Today's video is gonna be a long one. We have a lot of makeup I need to update you on and let you know my thoughts on these products after trying them out for a couple of weeks, and I'm looking down, and in this case also a couple of months. We're gonna dive into it, grab a snack, grab something to drink, because it's gonna be a long one. The first product is from IT Cosmetics. This is the Confidence in a Gel Oil Control Cream. This cream is so good if you have oily or combo skin. Just because your skin gets oily does not mean you shouldn't hydrate, because your skin needs the hydration. Trust me when I say your skin needs all of the hydration it could get. I really love this product because it really does a great job at oil control. I like to use this whenever I'm not wearing makeup. Also, when I'm wearing makeup, I just love that it doesn't make my skin greasy throughout the day. IT Cosmetics also came out with their new sunscreen. This is the Hello Sunshine Invisible SPF 50 sunscreen. I absolutely love this sunscreen because one, it doesn't give you a white cast. It also doesn't leave my skin feeling greasy throughout the day. That is such a pet peeve of mine, is when my sunscreen makes my skin more oily, and this does not do that. When I tell you this blends like butter, it blends in 0.5 seconds, I'm not kidding. You don't really have to fuss and really blend this into the skin. It's that easy, and I'm so happy that I was able to try this. I also have been loving this sunscreen, and I have not been reaching for any other sunscreen in my collection. Now, on the more affordable end of sunscreen, NYX Cosmetics dropped their Blur Screen sunscreen. And when I first tried this out, I wasn't really sure what to expect. I was like, is it really gonna be good? And it actually is very, very good. It kind of reminds me of the IT Cosmetics, except I feel like this one does have that blurring quality to it, while this one does not. It's just a true sunscreen. You can use it as like a makeup primer, but I feel like this one is more of a makeup primer and a sunscreen, whereas this one is just more so like a sunscreen. But if you want a good, affordable sunscreen that doesn't leave a white cast, blends very easy into the skin, but also kind of blurs the skin, this is a great one as well. There have been a lot of glowy, halo glow kind of filter products on the market, and when Catrice dropped theirs, I was like, okay, we have another glowy based product. But when I tried this, I was like, whoa, I think this one is the best one I've tried so far on the market, specifically because this one just gives you like that glass-like kind of glow, and I love that. If you want something that's just going to give glow, it's not really going to give coverage, but you want it to peek through under your makeup, this one is perfection. Every time I went in with like the e.l.f. one or the Charlotte Tilbury one, they're good. When I would apply all of my makeup on top, couldn't really see the work that I did with those products underneath, but with this one, oh, the glow peeks through and it gives glass-like skin. They killed it with this one. I think it's the most affordable one. This one's like $10. I definitely have my thoughts formulated on the Urban Decay Face Bond. This is what I have on right now, and this is such a good product. You know, it's so crazy when it's the products that you least expect to be obsessed with, those are the ones that you end up being obsessed with. And I think Urban Decay killed it with this. I feel like there have been a lot of different releases from Urban Decay in the past, and nothing has truly stood out to me. So when this product was announced, I was like, okay, like I'll try it. Well, I'll see how it is. And I did not expect to love it as much as I do. I love the overall finish that it gives. I love how my products apply on top of this. I love the coverage that it gives. I just love that it feels lightweight on the skin. I cannot stop reaching for this. Every time I wear it, I love my makeup. This has been truly a great release from Urban Decay, and it's very much up there for one of my favorite releases this year. I have quite a few bronzers I wanted to update you on. The first one is from Made by Mitchell. This is the Bronze Pod, and I was very excited to try this product out. Even though this is a bronzer with shimmer, I was sad when I tried it out and it didn't really show up on my skin tone. I got more glow than bronzer based than anything, and I'm kind of on the fence if I want to get a deeper shade, but I kind of do to really see if this is one of those products where it's just mainly glow and not so much bronzer. The shade that I have is Chocolatini, and I can't really say that I get bronzer base color out of this shade. I get more glow out of it, and I feel like if you like a glowy topper for a bronzer, you might really like this product. The formula is very smooth. It's just very, very glowy. The NYX Buttermelt Bronzers. This was such a great release from NYX. This formula is super smooth, very, very buttery. They just came out with the blush version of this, which I haven't tried out yet, but I think they're like sold out. Like people ran to the NYX website, and for good reason, because this formula is great. I do hope that we see an expanded shade range of these. Just know that the range of these bronzers is not like typical shades we see from a lot of brands. A lot of the shades have a more pinker undertone or a more red undertone. That is great because other brands really do skip out on those undertones for certain skin tones. But if you haven't tried these bronzers, they're a very, very great silky formula, has a lot of pigment. This I really can't use as a bronzer because it's very, very red, and I do like red in my bronzers, but more of like a blushy kind of bronzer. Absolutely. e.l.f. re-released their primer infused blushes and bronzers. I'm going to talk about the blushes in a little bit, but this is the bronzer right here. I have in the shade Sun Soaked, and this shade is honestly pretty good for a natural bronzer for me. I love using this on top of cream bronzers or like as a shadow in the crease for a wash of color. I also feel like the formula is very smooth and very, very silky as well. But as you can see, drastic difference in shade from the NYX and this one. But I think this is a great affordable bronzer at the drugstore. This is another shade range I'd love to see expanded because this is the second to deepest shade, and the deepest shade isn't really that deep. So I would love for e.l.f. to come through with more shades of this, but the formula is really nice. It doesn't apply patchy. I think it's a beautiful formula. It has that primer infused as well, so that also probably plays a part in why it blends so well. Now, I included this in the bronzer category, but it's really like a multi-use kind of powder, but I use this shade in particular as a bronzer. This is Sephora Collection's reformulated Micro Smooth Powders. This shade is perfect for me as a bronzer. It is the perfect amount of red. It's definitely very, very buildable. This is one of those bronzers I like to use on top of a cream bronzer to help set it. Now, before they reformulated this, I know a lot of people loved this product. Then they reformulated it, but I really like this. I'm shocked that I didn't try this before they reformulated, but I definitely see what the hype is about because this is pretty good. And hopefully those of you who've tried the formula before it got reformulated, you love the reformulated version because I think it's very, very good. And I love the fact that it's multi-use. Almost forgot about the Rem Beauty bronzer. It's been maybe like over a month since I talked about this launch or since this launched. And this shade that I have is Espresso Martini. This formula is super silky and super, super buttery. It's a very, very nice bronzer. I will say this one is a little bit more cooler of a shade, or it's kind of like a more neutrally kind of shade. So it's not my typical bronzer shade that I reach for, but the formula, oh my gosh, the formula is super smooth and super buttery. This was definitely my favorite collection launch of Rem Beauty when they launched the setting spray, the blushes, and the bronzers. It's also very inexpensive. I believe this bronzer is like $25. So if you want something that's super smooth and doesn't look powdery on the skin, it's a great bronzer to check out. Moving on to blushes. This is my favorite category. This is the category I feel like I have the most products in. Listen, I love me some blush. So we're gonna start off with the LYS Cream Blush Sticks. These are a glowy blush, super, super pigmented. I really thought when I first tried these were gonna look very metallic on the skin, but they actually don't. They're such a beautiful, beautiful blushy highlighter kind of, you know, product. I feel like it's not too much. It's like the perfect consistency of color base and glow. I absolutely love these. They're extremely, extremely pigmented, so I would tread very lightly. I feel like the best way to apply this is taking your brush and going into the product like that rather than, you know, swiping it on your face. Or you can also put some on the back of your hand and work off the back of your hand. If you love the bronzer formula, I think you're really gonna love this. The only difference is that this one does have a glowy finish rather than a matte finish. But I would not be mad if we saw matte finish or like maybe satin finish in the cream blush sticks. I would not be mad. These babies right here. These right here. Oh my gosh, I'm still in love with this formula from KVD. These are the Good Apple Blush Balm Duos. I have on, which one do I have on today? I have this shade on today. This is the Red Meadow Duo, and then this one is the Secret Thicket Duo. I have another one, but these are my two most used duos. I love like burnt terracotta, orangey kind of tones like this, but this formula, So good. I thought this was gonna be an overly dewy formula, and it's not. It almost has like a soft matte kind of finish. The pigmentation is there for sure, but I just love how this just melts into the skin. It just melts into the skin so seamlessly. Y'all know I started off with 2, then ended up with 3. Do that a lot. I'll start off with like 1 or 2 or 3, and then I'll end up with just about the whole range. Yeah, I love the fact that you get 2 blushes in one. Also, brushes, you know, quite a few size brushes fit in these pans without contaminating the other side. I haven't had any problem with that, but I love these. Let's talk about the Rem Beauty powder blushes. I saw she was coming out with powder blushes. I was super excited, and then I saw it was luminous, and I was like, okay, how is this going to work? And after trying this out and playing with it on its own and then on top of other blushes, I don't really feel like this is a blush. This is truly a colored highlighter. I really do wish that the formula was different because it does emphasize texture. You have to tread very lightly. I find myself not wanting to reach for this too much because I don't really like how it emphasizes the texture. I just wish that this formula was a little bit different. I really wish it was like more of a powdery formula with like a radiance to it, almost kind of like the radiant blush that's in like the Give Beauty blush duos, or even like who else has like a radiant powder blush that still feels like a powder, looks like a powder, and doesn't emphasize texture, you know? So I just feel like this is more of a highlighter. I know some people can use it as like a blush topper, which is how I've kind of been using it. I haven't really been using it on its own. But if you do have a lighter complexion, I did see that some people use it on their own and it looks beautiful on them. But I feel like for me, I like it better as a blush topper, but I would tread very lightly because it will emphasize texture because it is essentially a highlighter. e.l.f. powder blushes, these are really great as well. A buildable blush formula. I thought these were gonna be a lot more vibrant than they actually are, but don't let this color fool you. It's a very buildable blush. It's not super intimidating and super bright. It's definitely one that you can build up. And it does blend out too. See, look at that. It's not as intimidating as it looks in the pan. You definitely can build it up for sure. This is the shade Always Vibrant. This one is more of like a terracotta shade. It's called Always Tempting. Both of these are really pretty blushes. Definitely great at the drugstore. This is another range I would love to see expanded. I want to see an orange. I want to see a red. I want to see it all. Give Beauty came out with cheek tints, and believe them when they say it is a true cheek tint. If you want something that's going to have a lot of pigment, this is not going to be that product for you. This is more of like an everyday, no makeup kind of makeup blush. Look at that. It's very, very sheer coverage. If this is your vibe, go for it. I really wouldn't run out to buy this product, to be honest. If anything, I would buy the lip gels over this cheek tint. Even though it's a tint, you're probably really going to want to build it up with a second layer or so. And for that, you really could just go in with something else, maybe like the e.l.f. liquid blushes. This, I really don't feel like it's a unique formula or anything like that. It's nothing to write home about. NARS reformulated their blushes to be talc free, and you know, I love this blush formula, and it's so interesting to me that I love this formula so much because it is a buildable blush formula. It does not give you intense pigment off the bat. I'm wearing Exhibit A, which is like that orangey red kind of tone. I think it's such a beautiful, beautiful red color, but it's great because you can use it in an everyday makeup look like I did today, and it's still not intimidating or overpowering the entire makeup look. I've really been tapping into the shade Dominant. This is the shade I talked about in my favorites video. I love that this is a pink that goes with literally any and everything. If you've been looking for good quality powder blushes, or if you're just a fan of NARS and you haven't checked these out yet, these are a great blush, and no matter what shade you get, they're going to be perfect for every day, and they're also going to be buildable. Let's talk about Rem Beauty's blush really quickly. It's a very smooth blush, and when you apply it onto the cheeks, it gives like this airbrushed kind of blurred finish. Love this formula. Very sad that I only have one shade in this blush, but that's okay. I love it. It's a really beautiful pink blush, and I feel like it's going to work for a lot of skin tones. And like I said, this is one of my favorite releases from Rem Beauty. Out of all the releases, One Size came out with a new cheek clapper trio. This is in the shade Girly Pop. Beautiful, beautiful pink, super vibrant, will work for every single skin tone. The only thing I'm not the biggest fan of with this trio is this little glittery highlighter blush topper, because it is super, super glittery, very, very hard pressed. But once you apply it on the cheeks, it just looks like glitter. and I'm not a fan of glitter on the cheeks like that. The cream blush is probably the standout for me because it's such a unique cream blush shade. You don't really see this particular pink in a cream blush formula. I would love for One Size to come out with their cream blushes separately because I would buy literally every single shade of their cream blushes if they came out with them separately. Basma Beauty came out with blushes. Now, if you love a sheer yet buildable glowy blush, you're gonna love these. I feel like this is also one of those blushes that's great for every day. If you want something that does leave like a really pretty glow to the cheeks, you still want it to be buildable, these are great to check out. It is a very sheer blush formula, so if you don't like blushes that are super pigmented right off the bat, this formula is great. This is from Made by Mitchell. This is the Curve Case XL. This is my favorite formula from Made by Mitchell. It is such a great product. And when I first saw that he was releasing this, I knew I was gonna get this palette. I woke up at 5 a.m. just to buy this. This is a glowy, dewy blush formula, but it sets beautifully with the powder. It's very pigmented, so I would definitely tread lightly. He does have smaller palettes that have blushes and bronzers in it. Y'all know, the OGs. I've talked about it a lot, but I love this blush formula. Every time I do my makeup, I always try to reach for one of these. This is like one of my favorite makeup releases this year too, so I love it. Let's talk about powders. I have 3 I wanted to share my thoughts on. The first one is another Sephora collection micro smooth powder. This is in the shade 56. I like to use this for all over the face. Love this. I love that this just doesn't look like powder on the skin. It's giving Dior powder, no powder, but in the best way possible. Sets the makeup really beautifully without looking cakey and powdery. We have the Beauty Creations pink powder. This powder is a great affordable pink powder. If you know you've been looking for an affordable pink powder, this one is great for brightening. I feel like this is a powder that will work for literally all skin tones. I love using this to mesh my blush and my under eye together. It's a great finely milled powder. It's also talc free, so we love that. The next one is from Hourglass, and y'all know how I feel about this Hourglass powder. I have it on today. This is a great brightening under the eye powder. It's super smooth. I don't like to use this to set wet concealers. I like to use this on top of an already set under eye, but Hourglass, they killed it with this one. They killed it. I will say, they say that this powder is sheer, but I do feel like it gives kind of like a little bit of coverage, maybe like a medium coverage. If you're expecting this to be really sheer, I really wouldn't say that this is a sheer powder. It does have quite a bit of pigment to it, which I do love that because it kind of gives a slight coverage under the eyes, which is probably why I love it so much. I haven't used this puff. It's very thin, very cheap feeling, so I really wouldn't recommend using this little puff with it. Use like your go-to, you know, under eye setting puff and you'll be good to go. I have seen some mixed reviews about it, but I feel like I've seen a lot of people use it to set wet products on their face. I found that that's not where the powder thrives, at least for me. It's best as like a brightening powder. You also can use it to set the entire face, but if you're trying to like use it to set your concealer, I don't really know if you're gonna love it. I tried a few mascaras, and unfortunately the mascaras that I tried, I was not a fan of. The first one's from Milani. This is the highly rated anti-gravity mascara. So this mascara is great for separating the lashes, but if you're trying to get volume and length, this is definitely not going to do that for you. I know a lot of people love this mascara, but for me, I just found that it was best used at separating the lashes. This one's from Winky Lux. This is actually a lash primer, and I really did not like this. It's pink. It was very hard for me to cover this up. I feel like it dried very quickly. I'm just all the way around not a fan of lash primers. I don't really feel like they do much, to be honest. I wanted to give that one a try, and even then, I did not like how it looked when I used it. And then this is the Winky Lux So Extra Mascara. I feel like this mascara really didn't do anything for me. I am very picky when it comes to brow products and mascaras. I'm very picky. What else am I picky? I think it's just those two things. Oh, and eyeliner. I just want to be able to use one mascara and I'm good to go. I just want the mascara to give me length, volume. A bonus would be giving me a little bit of a curl, but I also want to be able to use the mascara on my lower lashes. My Benefit Bad Girl Bang is like my favorite all the way around mascara. Let's get into lip products because I've tried a lot of lippies recently. I tried a lot of lip liners. The first one is the ColourPop So Juicy Plumping Lip Liner. I didn't think that I was going to like this because it's plumping, but really it just feels like you went in with a product that has like a pepperminty sensation. I love the color of this lip liner. I think it's a great brown. It's perfect. It shows up very, very well. It goes with so many lip products that I like to use. And the pepperminty sensation is not like a burning one at all. Now, the Freck lip liner is, oh my gosh. You want a lip liner that's not going anywhere? The Freck lip liner is that girl for you. As you can see, it's slightly lighter than the ColourPop. I like this lip liner for more of like an everyday kind of lip, but this lip liner is not going anywhere. This is not a new lip liner on the market, but it's new to me. I did not realize NARS had lip liners. At least I'd never seen people talk about them, but this is a good old traditional pencil lip liner. It's what I have on today, and I really, really love it. There's something about a good old traditional pencil lip liner that just gets me. All three of those lip liners I've been thoroughly enjoying. I've just been rotating through, and they have not disappointed me. Finally got to try the NARS Afterglow Lip Shine. This is the shade Argon. Such a nice formula. I do want to get a different shade in this. Oh, this would have been pretty with my lips today. This almost feels like a glossy lip oil, and I like that, so I definitely want to try out some more of these. And I've been dying to try these for the longest time, and they did send this over to me in PR, so I was so happy. I got to try out the formula, and I like the formula. It just gives me more lip oil vibes, and I'm not mad at that, so I'm definitely gonna look into picking up another shade. Y'all know I love these. As you can see, I've made a dent in this one right here, Hibiscus. This one is in the shade Nightshade, but these are the Give lip gels. This is my ideal lip formula. It's like a gloss and a lip oil combined, but it also has pigment. I love this shade right here for the first time. Am I wearing this shade? What am I wearing? Oh, I know what I'm wearing on my lips. Finally, I'm not wearing this on my lips. I have been reaching for this every single day. I have something else on my lips. I'm wearing the YSL Candy Lip Glaze in the shade 15. Wanted to switch it up a little bit because I've been reaching for this lippy a lot. A little bit too much, but this is such a great formula. It stays a long time on the lips as well. If you want something that's going to stay on the lips, highly recommend these. But I love them, and look at that shine. Great, and they also smell like Parine candies. I had very high hopes for the ColourPop So Juicy Plumping Lip Pans. We've been seeing so many of these on the market, but these right here, I am not as blown away as I thought I was going to be. These are super sheer. Very, very sheer. They're glossy, but they're pretty sheer on the lips. On the lips, it looks like I didn't really go in with any kind of color. They do have like that pepperminty kind of feel, but nothing overpowering or, you know, burning. It just feels like cooling on the lips. I definitely prefer the e.l.f. ones over these. I'm just not as blown away as I thought I was gonna be, but I will say if you like a more sheer lip product, you might like those. The Huda Beauty Faux Filter Lip Glosses. Now, I have 4 different shades. I will say these are not the most long-lasting lip glosses, and I really am disappointed in that because I know lip gloss doesn't last as long on the lips, but I feel like I can get a good 30 minutes of wear out of these where I feel like I need to reapply my lippy. My favorite shades are the Clear and Bombshell. I do have the shade Posh and Honey as well. I like to use honey on top of a lipstick because on its own, it can look very, very streaky and settle into my fine lines, but I don't have that problem with the clear one and the shade Bombshell. And the formula of these gives me more lip oil, kind of, in a way. I do love how these feel on the lips though. They feel super comfortable and very nourishing, but I wouldn't say these are the most long-lasting lip glosses, and they really don't feel like lip glosses to me. It's definitely more of like a lip oil, but just like a little bit thicker than a regular lip oil. Sephora Collection came out with new lip shines. They came out with a lacquer version with a lot of pigment, and then a sheer version, which is the one that I have in the shade 3. Very gorgeous. It literally is like a dupe for the YSL Candy Glaze, and I love this shade. There's so many to choose from. I do like the sheer formula of these because it's great for every day. Very comfortable on the lips. It does taste kind of like makeup-y almost, you know what I mean? Like a lot of lip products may have like a vanilla kind of scent, but this one just tastes like straight up makeup, I guess. I know that's crazy to say, but y'all know what I'm talking about. A lot of lip products have like that like light vanilla scent or light vanilla taste, but that one has no taste. It's like they just put it in the tube. They were like, y'all not getting no vanilla, no nothing. As far as setting sprays, I have 2 to update you on. The first one is from Rem Beauty. This is the Mist Thing Hydrating Setting Spray. Love this spray. I like to use this throughout my makeup steps to add like that hydration, kind of melt all my powders back together, kind of in the way that I like to use my MAC Fix Plus, and the mister is very fine. Very fine mister. It's super hydrating, which I love that about that. Now this is the e.l.f. Power Grip Dewy Setting Spray. I have thoroughly been testing this out. First things first, I'm not the biggest fan of the mister. Yes, it's a very fine mist, but I feel like I cannot tell if it's going on my face. Then I find myself spraying way too much of the product. I feel like I'm inhaling all of it, you know, and it's not a good taste and it's not a good smell or feeling. I was expecting something a little bit more, a little bit different. There is this layer of oil in the spray as well. I really wouldn't say that this is a dupe for the Milk Hydro Grip Setting Spray. I've tried that one and I just feel like this one is just a little different. It's a little bit different. It does leave a natural glow to the skin. I feel like I prefer e.l.f.'s other setting sprays over this one. I like the idea of the spray and I like the idea of it going with the Power Grip line. I wanted to talk about a few tools before we get into eyeshadow palettes. So Morphe dropped the Essentials brush set. I've been trying out these brushes. At first I didn't know what to expect because these look so different from Morphe, but I have been thoroughly impressed with these brushes. The quality of these are really amazing. They didn't really skimp out on the quality, but I do think this is by far one of my favorite face brush sets from Morphe because of the angled brushes. I feel like these are the kind of brushes I've been going for, you know, more so for my makeup style. Concealer brushes like this, powder blush brushes like this, fluffy brushes like this, and then angled kind of brushes like this for contour and bronzer. This is a great brush set for $25 and I feel like it does have literally all your essentials. If I was traveling, taking these 4 brushes, I would be good to go. It also comes with a sponge. I haven't tried the sponge yet, but I'm hoping it's good. I'll let y'all know. e.l.f. came out with these little mini powder puffs. Love these for precision. I love, love, love. It is very thick. I do wish it was a little bit thinner. Not too thin, but a little bit thinner. But it's great for getting in that under eye and being very, very precise. Now, SEPHORA collection came out with what I think is one of the best powder puffs I've ever tried. It is not like your typical powder puff. It feels like a very smooth velvet, but also I love, first of all, it has a little pocket for you to like put your fingers in, which I like. You can really get in there. You can maneuver this puff, but I just love, it's so smooth. The way that the powders lay on this is unbelievably smooth. I want to order some more. At first I was on the fence. I was like, $8 for a puff, is it really gonna be worth it? But when you get this puff, if you go and buy this puff, let me know what you think. I'm telling you, it's different. It's on a whole nother level, and I don't understand because it's a puff, but it's on a whole nother level. Palettes. I tried quite a bit of palettes that I haven't updated y'all on. First palette is the danessa myricks Blooming Romance. I talked about this in my favorites video. Your girl hit pan. I love this palette so much. This formula is definitely a learning curve, but I'm telling you, it's so good, and every look that I've created with this palette I have been in love with. This is my perfect everyday makeup palette, and I live for an all matte look. I did get these 2 palettes from Melt. These are the Nightmare Before Christmas palettes. So happy I waited to get these because your girl got these 50% off plus the 20% off from Sephora during the sale. So your girl only paid like, I don't even know. It was very, very cheap. I know Melt's formula can be a hit or a miss. This formula was really, really amazing to work with. I love the eye look that I created with both of these palettes. The mattes blended themselves. I felt like it was an easy formula to work with. I had no problems with patching or skipping. I love it. Every Melt palette I've tried recently has not let me down. I have these 3 palettes from Oden's Eye. First one we have is the Earthwood palette. This is in collaboration with Fancy Face. These are very pretty spring palettes. The Oden's Eye formula has been very, very consistent for me. Oden's Eye is one of my favorite indie brands. I love their formula. Love their multi-chromes. This palette is in collaboration with Judy. It's very, very light and pastel-y, so I really haven't been reaching for this one too much. But as a companion palette, I feel like this one is great. This one's in collaboration with Annette. I love this one. I feel like this one's probably my most used one out of the 3. Love these tones. Love the shimmers in here. Oden's Eye, they always have a sale too. So if you ever want to check out Oden's Eye, check them out during a sale. Their palettes are so good and their formula is amazing. I did try 2 Glamlight palettes. So far, I think we only had 2 eyeshadow palettes from them. The first one is the Kiss Rock and Roll palette. Now, this one is very, very grungy, but very dark. Y'all know how I feel about Glamlight. Glamlight's formula has been very consistent for me. They have one of the best formulas. I love Glamlight. I love them so much. I really, really do. And then we also have the Betty Boop palette, which I've created some gorgeous, gorgeous looks with this one. I do wish that we had a deeper matte in here that's not a black. Every time I use this palette, I do have to reach into other palettes to kind of finish off my look, but love the formula. Then the last palette I tried recently that I wanted to update you on was this baby from Beauty Bay. Now this one is one of those palettes where there's a time and a place for it, for me personally. If I'm going out somewhere, I'm gonna reach for this. This has every grungy tone that I could ever want, but this is not an everyday palette for me personally. But y'all know how I feel about Beauty Bay. My absolute favorite. I buy every palette that they come out with. Give me all the Beauty Bay palettes. I love them. And I also love the look that I created with this palette. I have a video up using all of these three palettes if you want to check them out. As well as the Melt palette. I did try both of those in testing new makeup videos, so check them out if you want to see them in action. All right, so I have a few fragrances I wanted to update you on with my thoughts, so let's get into it. First things first, we got to talk about the Forever Mood fragrances because one, I will say I'm very happy that I got this Discovery set because the ones that I thought I was gravitating to ended up being the ones I liked the least. Out of all four of her new fragrances, Remind Me is by far my favorite one. Other three are not my personal favorite. Very intrigued to see what other types of scents she's gonna come out with. I'd love to see a little bit more of like a sweet gourmand or something fruity. I feel like I'm going to love those. If you have been on the fence and you still don't know which one to try, pick up the Discovery set because you might be surprised on the ones you think that you're gonna like but end up not liking. You might like the other ones, kind of like me. I will say they do have quite a bit of longevity. I was very impressed with the longevity on these. It's just the scents weren't my absolute favorite scents. Fleur dropped new hair and body mist. I love these. I thought Vanilla Skin was my favorite, but I think these are really, really close with Vanilla Skin. Both of these are fruity deliciousnesses, if that makes sense. They're fruity and they're delicious. The dragon fruit has pineapple, dragon fruit, and watermelon. Yum as the top notes, and as the heart it has plum blossom, lotus flower, peony, and then the base is sugared amber, vanilla bean, and sandalwood. Moonstone has green apple, pineapple, and black currant in the top notes. The heart notes are lemon zest, mandarin orange, jasmine, and geranium. And the base is sandalwood, vanilla, and amber. Delicious, delicious. I saw some comments of some of y'all saying you were unsure if you wanted to pick these up and blind buy these. I don't think that any of their hair and body mists have ever gone to Sephora in stores, which I think is such a missed opportunity. I love the Fleur hair and body mist because I feel like they last like perfumes. I love layering these with other type of scents in my collection. I'm a layerer. Okay, I have a lot of fragrances. I don't know a lot about fragrances. I'm like a fragrance enthusiast. If it smells good, I want it. So I'm always trying to layer things together and find different combos, but I love both of those scents from Fleur. The last fragrance I wanted to talk about is also from Fleur, and this is the Strawberry Letter fragrance. This was one of those fragrances where I thought that it was gonna be one I wanted to blind buy, and I don't know what it is about their fragrances and their hair and body mist, because to me, I always blind buy the hair and body mist, maybe because they're a lot cheaper. They're like $20 for those sizes, but I'm always impressed with the scents of the hair and body mist, and I just feel like a lot of the scents from the hair and body mist smell better than the fragrances, you know? Like the Mood Ring and the Missing Person are my two favorite fragrances from them. Every time I go and smell the others, I'm not like, ooh, I wanna buy this. But this was one I was like, ooh, I wanna buy this. And I went to go and buy the full and it sold out, but they had the trial one. I was like, maybe that was a sign because I am not a fan of this fragrance. I thought this was going to smell very fruity, like strawberry, like fresh picked strawberries. I thought it was gonna smell very different than what it does. But to me, this smells more powdery than anything. So that is it for today's video. I hope you all enjoyed it. I know this one was unbelievably long, but it needed to be done. I needed to update you on my thoughts on all of these products. Let me know what you guys think down below. Thank you so much for hanging out with me, and I'll catch you in my next one. Bye, guys.